Hey there, guys and girls. How are we doing today? Today was core day, and core day is slowly becoming one of my favorite training days of the week. Um, Not sure if that is, due to human flag and front lever and back lever and dragon flags and other things like that that are fun to train on core day, or what it is. I think it's pretty cool. I think it encompasses a little bit of push and pull muscles. But of course, the goal of core day is to focus the core muscles, that being the anterior and the posterior abdominal muscles, as well as the obliques, the core muscles that are off to the sides. And then, of course, there are, oblique muscles in the front and the back, sides of your core. Um, Today it was kind of a darker day. I think it was still around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, around 19-20 degrees Celsius here in eastern Kentucky. But it was very dark and gloomy looking, and especially towards the end of my workout, it got a lot darker. It really looked like there was going to be a big storm, but surprisingly enough, I don't think it's really stormed. Thinking back on things, I had class immediately following this workout, but I don't really remember it storming. Everything was feeling good today. Body was feeling good, feeling healthy, and I implement a few more changes today. As I kind of talked about yesterday during leg day, we're now doing those Romanian deadlifts, or I should say the single leg Romanian deadlifts. So that kind of makes the back extensions that I was doing on core day a bit redundant. They're training very similar muscles. The one on core day is more so focusing that posterior core chain, but that same posterior core chain is still being hit pretty hard when you do a Romanian deadlift. So I really feel like if I keep doing those RDLs, that I don't really need to focus the back extensions anymore, which is great because that frees up a slot for something that I've been wanting to try. Something that I've only seen done a time or two before, and those are called ring fallouts. I've seen, one of the more advanced athletes do them before. I've also seen the same athlete. He's very good at them. His name is Dominic Sky. Not sure if he still makes YouTube videos. I need to go and check. But back in the day, he was one of the people that I used to watch, that helps me learn and has helped me get to where I'm at today. But he is so strong on these. It almost looks like he's swimming. Like he's making the same motion you would make as if you're swimming in a pool. But he's doing it on the rings. That's how incredibly strong this guy is. Those are goals, and for whatever reason, despite seeing this exercise so many years ago, I am just now implementing it into my routine about 15 to 16 years later. But hey, we're growing every day. Little things like that, little details, kind of skip our minds, and there's so much more to working out than getting stronger. We're learning about the body, we're learning about ourselves, we're learning how to train, how to get stronger, we're learning about things our body likes and things our body does not like. And something my body did not like today was these warm-up handstand attempts. I could just not catch a handstand today to save my life. But that's okay, because it's core day, so we don't really have to do any more inverted positions today. And, there were a lot of other things I did do today that went very well, and one of those being human flag. I mean, even these front levers here, those also went pretty well. Of course, I still can't hold the front lever, but I mean, look at that, getting better at it every time I try it. And one day we'll be able to hit one. We just got to keep practicing. You can kind of see, if you study my movements here, how I'm going about kind of progressing down in the difficulty, so I can hit. It's really only one attempt at the front lever, but I'm hitting it 2 to 3 times because I'm trying a decreasing difficulty of progressions in that one attempt. And then here's the second attempt where I'm trying a couple other variations of the front lever. You just got to play around with things and see what works for your body, because we're all different. Here's that second skill, this being human flag. This is one of my favorite skills, something I've trained off and on for years, and I have never made very significant progress until here recently. And my progress has been very exponential, and I think that has been because of the total body strength that I have. There's no getting around. I'm not trying to brag on myself, but I've been working out for so many years. I have quite a bit of muscle mass, but something I did not know for so many years was how to use it properly to do a human flag. And I've really started embracing proper technique here lately. Look at that. We're exponentially growing in the human flag. We're progressing from no human flag to quite a bit of advancement through these progressions in probably about 2 weeks of practice. I hit this, I think, 3 different attempts today, which is kind of against my rules. But I hit 2 attempts from the bottom, and then this third attempt, I wanted to try to walk my feet up the ladder and do a negative attempt from the top. And let me just tell you guys, it is a skill in its own to be able to walk your feet up the ladder. I got fortunate there on that first try, but here you'll see on this second try on the other side, you kind of stumble a little bit and fall back down, and then I have to try again. It takes some skill and coordination of its own to climb your feet up the ladder like that when you are trying to do a negative human flag. Back in the day when I used to try human flags, I would jump up to the top and come down. And I've tried that a few times here lately, but I really don't like how it makes my shoulders, my scapulas feel. I almost feel as if I kick up real fast like that it disengages my scapulas, and it puts the pressure where you don't want the pressure, on like the connective tissues instead of the muscles. There's a little bit of a back lever. Just to comment a bit more on those human flag attempts, I really like, not just with the human flags, but with about any exercise I've talked about a lot here lately, going into them very slowly, slowly applying that pressure, slowly applying the torque to those joints. Your body will thank you later, and you will make a lot more progress. Anyways, there was those dragon flags, feel pretty stout, pretty strong on those. I, of course, could have went for probably a decent bit more reps on that, but we're just doing skill practice. We're not trying to fatigue the muscles. Well, that's what we're doing now. Now that we're in working sets and not in skill practice, my workouts typically are they're broken into 2 categories. When I finish that warm-up, I get into skill practice. And then when I finish the skill practice, I get into the working sets, which is what you see me doing here. This is where I'm chasing muscle fatigue, muscle breakdown. And let me tell you, you can see there I was feeling some muscle fatigue and likely muscle breakdown from completing that last set of those leg raises. I really love this exercise. I used to do these on the parallel bars before I progressed on to doing them on the rings. And let me tell you, doing them on the rings is so much more challenging than doing them on the parallel bars. Um, there's just so much stabilization. Of course, rings add stabilization, but I'm not sure what it is. Like progressing from doing pull-ups on a bar to pull-ups on the rings is quite a bit more challenging, but I feel like it is nowhere near as much of a challenge gap as there is between doing leg raises on the parallel bars to leg raises on the rings. Could just be the exercise. I mean, you could see me lose that there when I was trying to do that, that bent L sit hold. Here we're back on the flags for part of the working sets. This is a 45-degree flag hold. And let me just tell you guys, this is an absolute great building block if you want to be able to do human flags. Really pay attention how I get into the movement, and watch how, as I kick out, how I rotate my shoulders back, my torso, and everything rotates backwards so that the front of my torso more so faces up towards the sky. Here you can see it again as I get into the second attempt. I think I try to get a bit more time under tension on this one, but see how my belly's facing up, my chest is facing up, my head is facing up. Top shoulder's coming back, similar to how it feels when you're doing a pull-up, and the bottom shoulder's going forward, similar to how it feels when you're doing any sort of pushing exercise. That, and you're maintaining that long neck position. You're trying to extend your neck out, which pulls your scapulas down, down as in towards the bottom of your body, like towards your butt. I was really feeling that. But this is an absolute great building block to really work those human flag techniques and posture. Here's that new exercise I'm doing on core day. I really liked how this felt, but you had to be careful to not extend the shoulders too far. You also had to be very careful to maintain what's called posterior pelvic tilt. It's where you tilt your pelvis backwards and you crunch your abdominal muscles together. And you have to maintain that while you're doing this movement that you see me doing here. And you have to keep your scapulas locked down and back, similar to how they feel when you're doing a pull-up. Otherwise, you will probably hurt yourself. This is the first time I've ever done this exercise. Like I was saying earlier, it's something I've saw, something I have seen some of the more advanced athletes do many years ago, but I just never tried it. It felt, and you can see there I'm showing that posterior pelvic tilt a little bit. It felt as if, it was, at least at the progression that I'm doing right now with the rings at waist height, it felt as if it was pretty easy. It definitely felt as, despite being easy, that it was still, it was really working my core muscles, as you'll see here when I finish this set. But what I'm getting at is it felt as if I could lower the rings a bit and try a bit more difficult of a progression. But as I've talked about so much, especially where this is something new, I want to take it slow. And just because my muscles are saying, hey, we can handle more, that doesn't necessarily mean that my tendons and ligaments and cartilages and other joint tissues are ready to withstand the force like my muscles may be. Your muscles get stronger at a lot faster rate. You can see there I was feeling that. But your muscles get stronger at a much faster rate as compared to those other sorts of bodily tissues that I was mentioning. And that's because muscles have such a great blood flow supply and those other tissues do not. tried a bit of a 360 spin over. I was really tired here, and I kind of need I need to quit doing this at the end of my workout, and I need to do this when I'm fresh. But after I bang my shin a few more times, I guess I might figure it out. But you can see my hesitation there, but I finally do it, and it did not work out good. As you can see me shaking my head, I just really banged my shin really hard into that solid steel bar. And I'm sure you guys are familiar. It's pretty easy to figure out with which one of those two items is more solid, which one is tougher, when you compare the shin to a steel bar. But you got to know when to stop, and really you also got to know when to start. And I'm still feeling that one. Got to give it a little massage. You got to know when to start something as well, and it is not at the end of your workout when you are fatigued, unless it is something that you are just wonderful at, and that that complete bar hop over to direction change is something I've only hit a couple times before, and so therefore it is not something I'm really good at. So I need to stick to things like pullovers, maybe dynamic muscle ups. I can try that 360 spin over, that's fine. But at the end of my workout, I just need to focus on stretching out and loosening up, which is what you see me doing now. And I need to quit trying to be a calisthenics freestyle superstar at the end of my workouts, because I am not a calisthenics freestyle superstar at any point of my training. I'm not that good at the stuff I do. I'm just good enough to to do a little bit of stuff that's really fun and I enjoy. And that's fine with me. Like I've said a few times, I'm just a hobbyist athlete. I do this stuff for fun and for various health benefits, and just it's a good hobby to have. It's something I definitely recommend. Regardless of your body composition, we all got to start somewhere. I used to be obese as a younger person, but thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave those below. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.